500 United States Marines are standing in a dry river valley in ancient Persia, and they are looking at something no human being in the 21st century has ever seen with their own eyes. 300,000 soldiers. Not on a screen. Not in a history book. Right there. Filling the valley from one rocky ridge to the other. The dust cloud they raise is visible from 30 kilometers away. The sound of their march is a physical thing, a low constant vibration that you feel in your chest before you hear it with your ears. The Marines feel it now. Every single one of them. Lieutenant Colonel James Reeves, callsign Hammer, 43 years old, 2 tours in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan, stands on a rocky outcrop above his battalion and looks through his thermal scope at what is coming. The thermal image shows a sea of heat signatures stretching to the edge of the scope's range. He has seen large formations before. He has never seen anything like this. 300,000 soldiers of the Macedonian Empire. The greatest army the ancient world ever produced under the greatest commander the ancient world ever knew. Alexander III of Macedon. 25 years old. Never lost a battle. Not once. Not a single engagement in his entire career ended in anything other than total victory. His soldiers worship him. They believe he is the son of Zeus. After everything they have seen him do, it is hard to argue with them. The valley where this meeting is about to happen is called the Granicus Plain. 334 BC. The same general region where Alexander fought his first major battle against the Persians. The geography is simple. Wide flat valley floor, rocky ridges on both sides, a shallow river cutting across the middle. Perfect terrain for a massive cavalry charge. Perfect terrain for an ambush. Depending entirely on which side you are on. The temporal rift deposited the battalion 2 days ago. Reeves spent those 2 days doing what Marines do. Reconnaissance, fortification, planning. Every approach to their position has been mapped. The rocky ridge on the left flank has a squad of snipers. The rocky ridge on the right flank has another squad. The shallow river crossing in front of their position has been prepared with Claymore mines. The flat valley floor in front of the Claymores is the kill zone. 500 Marines. Their equipment is the standard load for a reinforced battalion in high-intensity combat operations. Every Marine carries an M4 carbine with a cog scope and 30-round magazines, 12 magazines each, 6,000 rounds per Marine, 3 million rounds total for the battalion. 40 Marines carry M249 saw-light machine guns. 8 carry M240B medium machine guns. 20 carry M32 grenade launchers with 6 rounds each. 12 Javelin anti-tank missile systems each with 3 missiles. 4 M777 howitzers with 200 rounds each. 12 M224 mortars with 50 rounds each. Alexander's army. The numbers first. 300,000 soldiers total. The core fighting force is the Macedonian heavy infantry, the phalanx. 40,000 men armed with the sarissa, an 18-foot-long pike that weighs 6 kilograms. When the phalanx locks its sarissas in formation, it presents a wall of overlapping spear points that no infantry force in the ancient world could break from the front. Behind the phalanx, the companion cavalry. 4,000 of the finest horsemen in the known world personally led by Alexander himself. Around the core Macedonian force, allied and subject troops from a dozen nations. Greek hoplites, Thessalian cavalry, Thracian light infantry, Persian auxiliaries, Indian war elephants from the eastern campaigns. 24 war elephants. Each elephant weighs 5,000 kilograms, carries a wooden tower with 4 archers, and has been trained to charge directly into enemy formations. In the ancient world, there was nothing more terrifying than a war elephant charge. In the ancient world. Reeves finishes his briefing to his company commanders in the dry riverbed behind their position. His voice is completely level. He has briefed before missions that looked impossible before. They were not impossible. This is not impossible either. It is simply a math problem. We have the high ground on both flanks. We have a prepared kill zone. We have the river as an obstacle. We have ammunition for approximately 4 hours of sustained combat at maximum rate of fire. We have 4 hours to make their math not work. Dawn of the first day. Alexander's cavalry scouts reach visual range of the Marine position and stop. They have never seen equipment like this. The vehicles, the weapons, the uniforms. They report back to Alexander. The king rides forward personally to observe. He studies the Marine position for 2 hours. He is looking for weaknesses, for gaps, for the logic of the defensive arrangement. He is very good at this. He finds the logic. What he cannot find is a reference point for the equipment he is seeing. Alexander calls his generals: Ptolemy, Perdiccas, Hephaestion, Craterus. His inner circle, men who have fought beside him for years across 3 continents. The discussion is intense. They are all professional soldiers. They can read a defensive position. What they cannot understand is the nature of the weapons. Hephaestion suggests sending a herald to demand surrender. Alexander shakes his head. No herald. We go forward and we learn what they have by going through it. The first probe comes at mid-morning. 500 Macedonian light cavalry. Fast, aggressive, designed to test the edges of the defensive position and find a way around it. They swing wide to the left, trying to reach the rocky ridge where the Marine snipers are positioned. They get within 600 meters of the ridge. The snipers open fire. M110 semi-automatic sniper rifles, 7.62mm, effective range 800 meters. The cavalry commander goes down first. Then his lieutenant. Then the next man who tries to take command. The cavalry probe dissolves. Without leadership, it becomes a confused mass of horsemen milling at the edge of rifle range, taking casualties from aimed sniper fire every time anyone tries to organize them. After 11 minutes and 31 cavalry dead, the survivors pull back. First lesson learned. The ridges are defended. Any approach to the Marine flanks costs heavily. Alexander watches and updates his mental map of what he is facing. The second probe is more sophisticated. 2,000 Macedonian archers advance to longbow range, approximately 200 meters from the Marine forward positions, and begin a sustained arrow barrage. Macedonian archers are among the best in the ancient world. Their arrows can penetrate bronze armor at 150 meters. They cannot penetrate Essapi ceramic body armor plates at any range. The arrows rattle off Kevlar helmets and ceramic chest plates. The Marines press behind their prepared positions and wait. Reeves watches the arrow barrage for 90 seconds. The arrows are not hurting anyone, but they are keeping heads down. He calls up the mortars. 4 M224 mortars begin firing. 82mm rounds drop into the archer formation at the rate of 30 per minute. Each round creates a 15-meter casualty radius in a packed formation. The archer barrage becomes ragged, then stops. The archers pull back carrying their wounded. Alexander has been watching everything. He has watched 2 probes fail. He has watched his archers driven back by weapons that drop destruction from the sky without any visible mechanism of launch. He has watched his cavalry shredded by invisible fire from the ridges. He is 25 years old and he has been fighting since he was 16, and he has never felt what he is feeling right now. Not fear. Something more interesting. The specific alertness of a commander who knows he is facing something genuinely new. He makes his decision before midday. The phalanx. 40,000 men with 18-foot pikes. He will send the phalanx straight down the valley floor at the Marine position. The phalanx has never been stopped in open battle. The geometry of 40,000 locked sarissas means nothing can get close enough to fight back at individual soldiers. It is a machine. A human machine that has ground through every enemy it has ever faced. Alexander does not know if it can be stopped. He is about to find out. The phalanx moves at walking pace. It cannot move faster and maintain formation. The sarissas require precise spacing. The men in the front rank hold their pikes horizontal. The men in the next 4 ranks angle their pikes forward over the shoulders of the men in front. The result is a wall of spear points extending 6 meters in front of the first rank. Nothing in the ancient world can penetrate this wall from the front. Reeves watches it come through his scope and starts doing math. 40,000 men in formation take up approximately 800 meters of front. The valley floor is 900 meters wide. The phalanx almost fills it entirely, leaving 50-meter gaps on each side between the phalanx flanks and the rocky ridges. Alexander has placed his companion cavalry in those gaps, ready to exploit any breakthrough or cover any flanking attempt. He has thought this through. This is why he never lost a battle. Reeves calls his howitzer crews. 4 M777 howitzers. 155mm shells. Each shell creates a casualty radius of 50 meters in a packed formation. He orders battery fire on the center of the phalanx. The first shells arrive 30 seconds later. 4 explosions in the heart of 40,000 men walking in tight formation. The noise is beyond anything these soldiers have ever heard. The blasts are beyond anything they have ever seen. Men are thrown 10 meters through the air. The formation shudders. It does not stop. The phalanx closes ranks around the craters and keeps walking. Because that is what the phalanx does. It absorbs punishment and keeps moving forward. 4 more shells. 8 more. The center of the formation is taking devastating losses, but the flanks keep moving. The phalanx is 800 meters wide. The howitzers cannot cover the entire front simultaneously. The flanks are getting closer. Reeves calls the javelins. 12 javelin teams acquire targets in the densest parts of the formation. Javelin missiles are fire-and-forget infrared guided, designed to kill main battle tanks. Against packed human formations, they are extraordinarily lethal. 12 missiles launch. 12 impacts in the heart of the phalanx. Each impact creates a fireball and a pressure wave that throws men in every direction for 20 meters. The phalanx loses cohesion in the center. The center stops. The flanks keep coming. Alexander sees his center breaking and makes an instant decision. He personally leads the companion cavalry through the right gap between phalanx flank and the rocky ridge, charging directly at the marine right flank. 4,000 of the finest cavalry in the ancient world behind their king. This is how Alexander fights. When the main attack creates pressure, he personally delivers the decisive blow at the critical point. It has worked every single time. Reeves sees the cavalry coming on the right flank. He has prepared for this. The Claymore mines along the river crossing detonate in sequence as the cavalry reaches the water. Each Claymore projects 700 steel balls in a 60-degree arc to a range of 50 meters. The river crossing becomes impassable in 4 seconds. Horses and riders go down in the water and on both banks. The charge breaks on the Claymores. Alexander's horse Bucephalus is hit by fragments and goes down. Alexander himself hits the ground hard, rolls, comes up bleeding from a gash on his arm, and immediately looks for another horse. Because he is Alexander, and that is what he does. The companion cavalry pulls back to regroup. Their king is on his feet and already organizing the next move. The first day ends with the phalanx pulled back to reorganize, the cavalry repulsed at the river, and Alexander sitting in his command tent with a bandaged arm looking at a map and thinking. His losses for the day are approximately 8,000 dead and wounded. The Marines have lost 4 men to arrows that found gaps in their armor, and 1 man to a Macedonian javelin that caught him in the thigh. 5 casualties. 4 dead. Against 8,000. The math is working. But Alexander is thinking. And when Alexander thinks after a defeat, the next day is always worse than the day before. The second day begins before dawn. Alexander has been awake all night. He has reorganized his entire army into 7 independent columns, each with its own cavalry, infantry, and archer support. 7 simultaneous attacks from 7 different directions. He cannot go around the ridges. The snipers have made that clear. But he can attack all points of the marine perimeter simultaneously and force Reeves to divide his fire. It is a sophisticated solution to a problem no commander in history has ever faced before. It is exactly what you would expect from Alexander. The 7 columns hit simultaneously at first light. Reeves has anticipated multiple simultaneous attacks and prepositioned his company commanders accordingly. But 7 simultaneous attacks from a force of 300,000 strains even prepared defenses. The mortars work constantly shifting between targets. The machine guns sweep the approaches. The snipers work methodically targeting commanders in each column. But the columns keep coming. Column 3 on the left flank gets within 200 meters of the Marine position before being stopped. A Marine squad throws 12 grenades in rapid succession and calls in mortar fire directly on their own forward edge. The column breaks. But ammunition is going fast. By mid-morning of day 2, the battalion is at 60% of its starting ammunition load. 6 hours of sustained combat remain before the temporal rift opens. The howitzers are down to 40 rounds each. The javelins are expended. The mortars have 30 rounds each remaining. Reeves makes the decision to consolidate. Pull back from the forward positions to a tighter perimeter. Use the ground. Make them come to us at close range where every shot counts more. The Marines pull back 500 meters to a rocky outcrop that forms a natural fortress. 3 sides of sheer rock. 1 approach. 100 meters of open ground in front of the approach. It is a smaller Thermopylae. The 7 columns converge on the new position. Now Alexander's numbers work against him again. 7 columns trying to funnel into 1 approach. The machine guns cut them apart. But column after column comes. Wave after wave. By mid-afternoon ammunition is at 30%. The howitzers fire their last rounds. The mortars go silent. Only rifles, machine guns, and grenades remain. And the Marines fight. Because that is what Marines do. They fight with what they have until they have nothing, and then they fight with what they can find. By late afternoon, the perimeter is tight. Ammunition at 15%. 40 Marines wounded. 7 dead total. Outside the perimeter, Alexander's army has lost perhaps 40,000 men over 2 days. 40,000 out of 300,000. 13%. Not enough to stop them. Alexander stands 200 meters from the Marine perimeter on a horse and looks at the small force that has cost him 40,000 soldiers in 2 days. He is bleeding from 2 more wounds. He has not slept in 36 hours. He looks at the perimeter and he makes a decision that surprises every one of his generals. He raises his hand. The army stops. He rides forward alone toward the Marine perimeter. Unarmed. No weapons. Just Alexander on a horse riding slowly toward 500 Marines with his hand raised. Reeves watches him come through his scope. One rider. No weapons visible. Coming slowly. He calls ceasefire. Alexander stops 20 meters from the Marine perimeter. He looks at the Marines looking at him. Then he does something that will be recorded in every account of this battle. He nods. Once. Slowly. The nod of one professional to another. Then he turns his horse and rides back to his army. The battle is over. Not because anyone surrendered. Because Alexander decided it was over. 6 hours later the temporal rift opens and the Marines walk through it. Final count. 7 Marines killed. 41 wounded from 500. Macedonian losses estimated at 40 to 45,000 from 300,000. 14%. Alexander continued his campaigns. He never spoke of this battle to his historians. There is no record of it in any ancient source. But among his closest companions in private, he was heard to say once that in all his years of fighting he met only one enemy he was genuinely glad to see leave. Vote in the comments right now. Option A. 100 T-90 tanks versus 2 million Mongols of Genghis Khan. Option B. 1 battalion of Russian VDV paratroopers versus the entire Roman legion at its peak. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. See you on the next battlefield.